Let's start on page 18 with operations with irrational numbers and numbers written as radicals. All right, so some vocabulary. A rational number can be written as a fraction of integers. So as a decimal, it repeats or terminates. So for example, if I had 4/3, that would be equal to 1.3 repeating. So that's a repeating decimal. The fact that it's written as 4/3, that's a set of integers in a ratio or fraction. If I had 7/4, that is equivalent to 1.75. So that decimal ends in the hundredths place. It terminates. Once again, 7/4 is a fraction made of a fraction of integers. So it could be positive or negative. I picked two positive fractions. Now, an irrational number, as a decimal, it never repeats. And, so there's the difference, and never ends. So examples are the square root of 2. Okay, so here we go. So with Desmos, if I go and do square root of 2, you'll see all those decimal places. There's no place to put a repeating bar. It does show, it shows the last number, this 7. That's as far many place values they're showing us. Just kind of to see something different. If I delete that and go back and do my 4 divided by 3, there's my 1.3 repeating. I can press the fraction, and if that symbol is there, that means I can make it a number into a fraction. That's good to know. So let me just do 5 divided by 3. I want to see what it does. So even though this is 0.6 repeating, it does show as 7 at the end. It's rounding the place value it can show. But then I can just hit that. If this little fraction guy is here, it's going to be rational. If I do something like the square root of 9 and hit enter, I mean, that's just going to give me 3. So if it's equal to an integer, it's not going to give me the fraction symbol there, but any repeating decimal would have that. So irrational never repeats, never ends. Rational can be written as a fraction of integers. And you might be like, well, 3 can be written as a fraction of integers. Why, yes, it can. It can be 3 divided by 1. Okay. All right. So now some other words you'll see is the word sum. And so maybe it says the sum of x and 7. So sum means to add. And then when I see the word sum of x and 3, and is where the operation goes. So I'm going to go here and put a plus sign. So x plus 7. Same thing for the word product. I have the product of 4 and 3. That means the and becomes the symbol for multiplication. So 4 times 3. And then the word difference is used for subtraction, but if the word subtraction is in there, it's usually, they sometimes use this expression, like when 5 is subtracted from 20. And so I want you to think about that really slowly. When 5 is subtracted from 20, when I subtract from, this guy goes first. So when 5 is subtracted from 20 is 15. So just be real careful with that. And I used very simple numbers to help me reason through what I'm going to do. When relying on Desmos to help you with this, you just want to make sure that you're typing in exactly what you see. So if you see square root of 2 plus 3 square roots of 2, make sure that when you type in that 2, you arrow out of the square root. Otherwise, you'll have this really long square root that's 2 plus 3 radical 2, and you just keep getting buried and buried and buried under this radical symbol. Now, there may be questions about simplest radical form. That is certainly a number skill to work on. If there are two answers that are equivalent, try to look for the one that has kind of a two-part answer with a coefficient and a radical. All right, so let's turn the page. We're going to do these questions together, and then you'll have a worksheet for practice. All right, so the first one says, which expression results in an irrational number? And the best suggestion I can give for any question like this is to find the value of all four answers and determine which one doesn't belong. This is kind of a Sesame Street game, actually. Which one of these is not like the other? So use that to help yourself out. So I'm going to go over to my calculator, and the first thing I'm going to do is go into my settings, and I'm just going to delete all the junk I have, and that's fine. I don't think I can go any higher. Okay, so here I go. Number 1. So radical 3, and this is what I'm saying about getting out from underneath. You can use the arrow to get out from underneath. If you stay underneath and hit multiply, notice how that bar extends. All right, so I want to get out from that, and now I'm going to go times radical 3. So radical 3 times radical 3 is 3. So I'm going to write that one down. Okay, now I'm going to try the next one. I'm going to go into 2. And then to get fraction bars, remember you're just using division. So 2/3, get arrow out of that, plus 1 divided by 4. And that answer is repeating, but notice over here there's the fraction. So it's equal to negative 0.416. Repeating bar, ignore the 7 on the end, but what I can do is also press this and see that it's equal to negative 5 over 12. All right. Choice 3 is 5 times radical 81, and that's equal to 45. And that's because square root of 81 is 9. And then my last one is 1/3 plus radical 3. And when I look at that one, I get 2.06538414009, and it's going. So even though this one is a decimal that never ended, it did repeat. This is my irrational number because it never ends and never repeats. All right, number 2. Okay, so this is question number 15, and it says the sum of 2 radical 54 and 2 radical 6 is. And so there's a number of different choices here. All of them have what's called a coefficient and then the radical, or they're in the form of what we say is A radical B. Basically, there's multiplication between those two things. Don't get weirded out, just type it in. Now, the word sum means to add, which means right here, are the word and, that's where the plus sign goes. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is evaluate the addition problem, which is the question. So 2 radical 54 plus, oh, and I made an error. I got to back up. I got to get out. There we go. Plus 2 radical 6 equals 19.595917. So I'm looking for the thing that is the same. So this one is looking for a match. So if I go to my next line in my calculator, and I should go ahead and go right here, is 4 radical 60 equivalent to it? And it's not. So this is 30.98, not equivalent. Next one. 8 radical 15. Not that one either. It is the same as the one above it, though. That's kind of interesting. Now I have 7 radical 6 or 6 radical 6. So 7 radical 6. Nope, that's not going to be it. And so I'm just going to go back in here and edit, and it's 8 radical 6 is the correct answer. So which one is the sum, the total of those two? It's 8 radical 6. And then our last one is which sum is irrational. So once again, this is very much the same as the first type of question. Which one of these is not like the other? We're going to try all 4 of them and see what we get. The thing you want to make sure you do is that you arrow out and don't put too much under one radical symbol. So I'm going to hit delete, and I'm going to ask you to pause and find the answer, and then you can confirm your answer. All right, so I can see all of my answers, and clearly 10.5, wow, it's a little bit crazy. It definitely is not as crazy as choice 1, which is irrational. All right, so do once you've completed these problems and you've done the notes, then you're going to get a worksheet and fill out the worksheet and get those answers. Follow up on that to make sure you know how to do it. All right, thanks and have a great day.